Hi, friends. Welcome to Law Chat with Girja. My name is Girja Bhargav Patel. I'm a mother. I'm a wife. I am a podcaster. I am an educator. I am a businesswoman. I am an entrepreneur, and I'm a lawyer. I truly believe in the power of mentorship through storytelling, and that's what Law Chat is all about. So whether you are in 6 months or 10 years of business experience, we can all learn from each other's experiences because we face the same challenges and we have the victories and we have mistakes that we're all making. So why not lean into them and know that we're going to be fine and we're going to be okay and we're going to be inspired. And of course, this is Law Chat with Girja, so we will be talking about some law at some point during the conversation. And if you love what you hear today, which I know you will, then subscribe to Law Chat with Girja and share the love. So grab your coffee, sparkling water, or wine, and let's dive in to the next inspiring mentorship session. Hi, friends. Welcome to Law Chat. Are you looking for a secret ingredient to the success story? Sometimes focusing on the quick strategies gives us a leverage to the next step quickly, but it's not sustainable. And quite frankly, we all know what is sustainable, but we just don't want to do it. And so our guest today, Dr. Naieema Jackson, is the CEO of the Determined Fempreneur, where she serves female entrepreneurs with business and marketing strategies. She's also the host of the Determined Fempreneur podcast and Scaling TV YouTube channel. Determination is one of her core values and ever present in every season. And in my opinion, one of her main ingredients to success as well. Welcome, Dr. Naieema. I'm so excited to have you on Law Chat. I just briefly reading the journey that you've had, like we talked about before, you have faced lots of challenges, but you have used those experiences, the wisdom and the triumphs to really help your community and help others. And I'm really excited and looking forward to learning about it some more.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. I think when you go through things, there are lessons in everything. And either I'm going to take the lessons and make my life better going forward, or I'm going to be mad about going through that trial and not really do anything to really get to where I want to be in life. Mm-hmm. You know, and that second part was never an option for me. Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was never an option for me. It was like, okay, what lessons am I learning? Let me feel my feelings. Let me feel sad. Let me feel emotional. Nothing wrong with feeling my feelings. But what are the lessons? What can I take from this so that the next time around, maybe there's a different outcome.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's so true. I feel like sometimes many of us allow our challenges or the heartaches to be the place where we're building our home. And we can't pitch a tent there. We can't build our house there. We can definitely learn from that hurricane and move on and build a stronger home and build a stronger foundation for everything that we're doing and take the lessons, like you said. But where did all that start? I know that your journey is very fascinating. There's a lot of things that you have done. And so where did it kind of start sparking? Was it early in your childhood or later on where you're just like, yes, this is the route and the path that I'm going to be taking?
Oh, well, I always knew that I had to take adversity and make it into something different for me to move to where I wanted to be. Mm-hmm. And it's because of all the trials I had in my youth, right? I am a product of domestic violence. I am a homeless child. Like all those things happened. And I remember my mom, when things would happen, she would say, only if I got my education. And she would say things like that, or this is where we are, but this is not who you are. Like she would just say things like that. So it's like, okay, bad things are happening, but I can make different choices. I can be resilient, right? And then I can also go on the path that I want to go
on. Wow. I just feel like you just shared so much about your past and ever so like in a very nonchalant way also.
And because I've healed from it. I've healed.
Absolutely. You know, it's so beautiful because there's so many people out there that, struggle, and maybe their struggle may not be as intense as being homeless, but whatever struggle they're in is intense for them at that time. And I feel like when we hear others' stories coming out of so much heartache and so much, I feel like a challenge is undervaluing what you went through. But those experiences that are so challenging where you have to find every fiber in yourself to pick yourself up again and move forward. And I love that your mom was one of those, beacons of support and strength at that time as well. And I love how she said, this is not who you are. You're just experiencing this right now. And then the choices that you made after that. I mean, you're a PhD, you are an RN, you've clearly made choices to break any type of cycle that your past might have been in or your ancestors' past might have been in. So can we talk a little bit about that also and how your mindset worked to help you do that and how you break the negative cycles? Because we all experience those. It's just, they're just clothed differently.
Absolutely. Everybody has challenges, and no, like you said, it may not be homelessness, but we do not negate other people's pain because it's not as extreme, right? The thing that has helped me to really say, okay, this is what I want, besides having a mother I had who made everything a lesson, was really me saying, okay, either I'm going to continue to feel sorry for myself, which I did. I went through a long period of that and have really, really, really bad mental health. I had severe anxiety. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't eating. I had constant headaches. I was irritable. And one day I said, okay, it's been years of me living like this. Am I going to continue living like this because I'm mad about what life has done to me? So it's really, I was at a crossroad. Can I make some different decisions? Right? So that I'm not on a trajectory of severe anxiety, depression, right? Irritability. Can I make different decisions? So what I had to do was I had to go to therapy. And I know it's a taboo subject.
No, not at all. Not at all. In fact, it's absolutely not. In fact, right now, we're going to talk about this. Going to a therapist is okay. Going to a counselor is okay. Having a coach is a good thing, but they're not your therapist. You need to go to a therapist if you need one.
Yes. So therapy has been my lifeline.
Yeah.
It taught me so many things. It taught me my patterns. So some things that led me to the life of anxiety, constant stress was my negative self-talk, my pitying myself over the things that I experienced. Right? Me not being able to see past what I believe and feel about the situation. Those were my patterns and it was just cycles. I just cycled in those three patterns over and over again. I didn't even realize that until my therapist brought it to my attention. So it took first for somebody to get me out of my own mind.
Right.
To see, oh, that is my pattern. Wait, she's right. It is my pattern. And then help me with the coping skills to break the cycle.
Yeah. Because you can break the cycle.
You can. If I can, I'm at this age, I'm 36 right now. I started breaking a cycle when I was about 31 years old.
It takes so much courage to do that also. And it takes a lot of strength because a lot of times we believe, it's a simple thing like, oh, you're like your dad, just the small little, personality traits that people have. Oh, you look like X, Y, and Z and there are people in your family. And so we're somewhat conditioned to think that we are automatically going to inherit all the negative things of our families or, whatever situation we're in. But it's not true. You can actually break that cycle.
100%. You have the power. You have the power. And going back to what you said about the negative things, some things that we see as negative are actually very positive. Like one thing about me, I'm assertive. I speak my mind. I know what I want. I can go into a room full of men and still speak the way I need to speak to get, and I used to think, Dad, why am I so aggressive?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Right? I used to think it was a bad thing. And my therapist was like, well, what makes it bad? I'm like, let me think about this. Societal stereotypes about Black women. And my therapist is like, so you live according to societal expectations?
Mm.
I'm like, oh, yeah. Why am I doing this?
Mm-hmm.
So it took therapy for me again to see my patterns, to break the cycle, and for me to begin to love myself authentically the way I am.
Yeah. That is, I honestly did not know about the homelessness part of it. And, maybe it's there and I just missed it. I don't know. But, I just feel like there was other things that you did talk about also in your, when anyone researches you, there's like certain things that you clearly talk about the anxiety issues and other things. But I love that you brought this up because I feel like so many of us are in a space where we feel like, gosh, we just can't do it or whatever. But you are literally the story. You are an example of, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can get out of whatever yucky situation you're in and you can do it. And, and it's like 31, but prior to that, had you already received your PhD at that point, or did you do that afterwards? Like, where in that timeline were you, studying and doing all of
Yes.
your other achievements?
I hate to interrupt this awesome conversation, but I have to stop and talk with you about the number one thing I'm asked about by entrepreneurs: contracts. They're vital to any business relationship and to protect your business. But I also know that entrepreneurs, especially when you're starting up, money is tight. But I would never want you to compromise on a strong legal foundation. So enter yourcontractbuddy.com, a website created by me with contract templates created and drafted by me and fellow industry partners. They're ready to use and easy to plug in immediately. And they are not restricted to any specific state. So yourcontractbuddy.com is sponsoring this episode, and you and your listener can get 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. Yes, you heard me right. 10% off right now with code LAWCHAT. And now back to our awesome conversation.
Well, yes. So I had my master's degree by the time I was 28, I think. And I just finished my PhD this year, 2021.
Congratulations.
Yes. But I always say, my other degrees, I was just doing it because I had to prove something to people. I did it because I was a teenage mom. I was a stereotype, and I had to show people that I'm still good enough. So I went for these degrees to show people that I'm good enough. Please accept me.
Mm.
So that's how I spent the first 31 years of my life.
Yeah.
Right. I'm homeless as a child, but please, I'm a good kid to play with.
Yeah.
Please accept me.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a teenage mom. I know society. I know I made a mistake, but I'm still worthy. So my first 3 degrees was about proving my worthiness.
Wow. Dr. Naieema, it's so funny. I just recorded a solo episode for my podcast. I do one every 2 weeks or whatever. It's funny that this episode was actually about proving our worthiness to others. I mean,
Wow.
It's not even funny. Like, I was literally taught and then kind of saying why I get why we want to do it. We all do it like in our own manner and way. But we also need to break away from that and realize that we don't need to prove ourselves. We need to do it. We just need to move forward and follow our passion, follow the goals and the dreams that are in our heart, not for your peers, because they don't define you. What defines you is you and whoever, the divine, whatever you believe in. But that is what defines you. But other than that, It's the actions that speak louder. And meanwhile, while one of your focuses might have been because you want to prove your worthiness, but it was also maybe a part of you is trying to prove to yourself that you are worthy.
Yes.
And you can do it. And nothing in your past defines the worthiness of you, because you need to keep moving forward and doing what your dreams are in your heart. Oh my gosh, this is so crazy. I literally just recorded a solo episode about this.
It's, you know what? There's nothing that happens by coincidence. Yeah, there's no coincidence.
Nope.
There's a lot of women have worthiness issues.
Yes.
And me, you know, I'm a sales and business coach, right? So I typically see it in women with their pricing.
Yes.
And they'll hide behind, oh, I haven't been in business long enough, so this is why I'm charging a quarter to work with me. Or, hey, I don't want to charge a lot because I want everybody to be able to access my services. Rather than saying, no, I really just don't think anybody will pay me a lot of money, so I'm not worth it. That's typically what I see in my clients, right? So therapy helped me realize that there was a worthiness and a self-love issue. And I did my work.
Yeah.
I did my work. And I can tell you now that I live for me. That doesn't mean I'm selfish, because right, somebody will hear that and go, oh my gosh, she's a selfish person. No, I'm actually pretty selfless, because when I actually fill my own cup, when I actually feel like, okay, I am worthy, I show up even better in relationships. I'm not irritable, right? I'm not trying to prove something. I'm genuinely building a relationship with a client, in my life, or whatever else.
Oh my gosh, so on point, because that's so true. When you're trying to prove yourself, your focus is shifting. Your narrative is shifting to that proving aspect. So whenever someone is saying something to you, your perspective is maybe defensive. It's not, you're not 100% in it to win it, but you're just like defensive about it. And while what they're saying might be very benign, but you take it the wrong way, because the lens is that of proving now. The lens of that is, let me set my worthiness here, rather than being here to share with you the gifts that I have and the talents that I have. And honestly, I believe in abundance. And so in the sense of like abundantly giving yourself in whatever situation you're in. And I think that would also be a barrier to that. So I feel like we're talking for me right now. Like, only because I literally just got off this podcast, because this has been something that's just been kind of like the last few weeks, like things have been popping up. And so it's been really interesting. And so I love that you are focusing on women and your business serves women entrepreneurs. And so, but before you started the business of yours, what were some of the transitions that you had that led to this, starting your business at that time?
Well, for me, I knew I wanted to start my business 5 years prior to starting it. But, the fears, women, a lot of fear. What if my kids? What if I don't? What if I don't have time? Right? All the stuff that comes up. But what really sparked it for me was being in a profession that's not very respected, right? I'm a nurse. Society says they respect it until they actually have you as a nurse, and then they call you all type of not so nice things, right? Then you have the physicians being very disrespectful. So, right, lack of respect. Then the ceiling on my earning potential. I really honestly did not see a way where I would ever be able to retire. And it's not because I'm living beyond my means. I drive a Nissan. Okay. Like, I have a beautiful, just standard home. I was like, what the heck? When are we going to be able to really do what we want to do? And then thirdly, I wanted to travel abundantly, like with my family. We wanted to do things. And again, fear stopped me. But 2019, I just ripped the Band-Aid off and I just hired a business coach. Before I did anything business related, I hired a business coach, which is why I was able to build my business to a multi-six-figure business in 1 year. It wasn't because I'm like this amazing business guru. It was because I hired help. Just like when I wanted to be a nurse, I didn't just try to be a nurse. I didn't try to go into a hospital and get a nursing job. I went to college.
Yeah.
right? I got help from people who can help me do it. And it has been the most amazing thing. I left my job, my full-time job. I was an assistant professor of nursing. I left my full-time job after 9 months to start my business.
Wow.
It was amazing.
Yeah.
And I did all of this while raising out my children. I was completing my PhD, and I was in the middle of a pandemic, like everybody else, and having to be quarantined with my then husband, who I was getting a divorce from.
Mm-hmm.
So I had life going on.
A lot of life
going on.
Yeah.
And it's been an amazing journey, but I had to rip the Band-Aid off in 2019 because there was 100 reasons why I shouldn't start now.
So tell me, what was the pivotal point in 2019 that made you rip that Band-Aid off?
I know, this is a difficult discussion for some people to hear, but I know that a lot of times when you think about racial injustice, we think about George Floyd. That's what the world thinks about. But I've been Black all my life. So as a nurse, I was tired of being called the N-word constantly by patients. Like, I'll walk in, I don't want an N-word as a nurse. I'm like, I was tired. I'm 120% positive.
Oh my goodness. I know you are. I'm just like, that was like more emphatic. Like,
oh yeah.
Like what?
Yes. I remember this is like one of the things that happened. I went to this white older man and his IV was bad. And I had to restart his IV. I said, "Hey sir, your IV went bad. I'm going to restart it in your other arm." He said, "Oh, if you guys stick me again, I'm going to be as black as you." And I was tired. I was like, you know what? I can't. I'm about to lose my license, or lose my job or something, because I'm about to say something I probably shouldn't say, right? So I wanted to truly create my own table where microaggressions are not allowed, where people of color, people who are part of the LGBTQ community, whoever, can be comfortable and feel safe. Mm-hmm. So that's another reason why I started my business.
So the hospital that you were working in, did they not have any policies about this stuff? Or like, how would they handle all this stuff? Like, this is so crazy. I mean, you can't control what the guy says, but at the end of the day, you can control what happens afterwards.
The hospital that I worked at was really good at not accommodating patients who were blatantly racist.
Yeah.
Some patients were also misogynistic. It wasn't just race.
Right. Right.
You're a woman, do that, right? So the hospital administration was amazing at not accommodating that behavior. So they did what they needed to do, but patients are people.
Yeah.
And some people are just idiots.
Yeah. And again, they don't define you.
They don't. Not at all. And I was like, I just can't.
When people are dripping with anger, when they're dripping with hatred, that actually speaks volumes about who they are and their innermost deep issues that they are facing, their demons that they're facing. It's nothing about the person that they're speaking to.
It's not, especially when you just walk in. I'm like, "Good morning."
You don't even know them.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. So crazy.
Oh, well, Lord. Yeah. So that was a catalyst in 2019. I was like, I can't anymore.
Yeah. And I think that's so wonderful because they're wonderful in the sense, like, you recognized it and you made pivots from there. You made changes and into a space that is serving you better, that is giving you joy, that is also fostering you and cultivating you, and then also peaceful to your mindset, peaceful to your mental health. Like, that is so important. And I think a lot of times we allow ourselves to be in a space that is, we don't even realize it sometimes how damaging it is to our mental health until it becomes so loud, so profound that it's kind of, we can't do anything about it anymore. So I know we're talking about self-worth and how, if you had a client today walk into your office and say, "I just have zero self-worth," what would be some of the tangible action items you would be giving them to discover their self-worth?
One exercise I do with my clients is we try to get to the core of it. Mm-hmm. Like, when is the first time you realized that you weren't worthy? And even though we know it's not true. And a lot of people, it comes from childhood. Mm-hmm. whether it was overbearing parents who they could never do anything right for, whether it's for like me being homeless, so I was an outcast for society, right? So when you get to the core of it, you start to realize that the adults in the situation were going through things that you and I had no idea about. And a lot of times we internalized the behavior that others did, whether it was an adult, whether it was a bully. So once we get to the core of it, it's like, okay, I'm not your therapist, so maybe you got to go really work on that with the therapist. So it's good that you got to the core of it. But let's look at the evidence of all of the things that you've accomplished in your life. Because sis, you are worthy.
Yeah.
So we literally start making a list of the things they've accomplished, not just in business, because you cannot really truly have a successful business and then your life is just horrible. Right. So I've had women say, you know, I've given birth. I'm like, look, you gave birth to life. You are worthy.
Yeah.
Right. I've got that college degree, or, hey, I had the courage to leave my marriage, whatever it was. I'm like, so you are very worthy. But how about you're worthy just because you have breath in your nostrils right now?
Yeah.
Because you are a person. No one ever says that. I have to remind them that, you know, you're worthy, but none of those things could have ever happened and you're still worthy.
What a great reminder. What a great reminder.
And then I'm like, and go to therapy. You
Yeah.
know, I am such a big believer in therapy.
Yeah.
I'm like, because once you get down to the core of the things that you're going through and realize what your triggers are, you can break the cycle. You can break the cycle. You do not have to be stuck because you are worthy. And that's something that took me 3 years of therapy to finally internalize. That my degree doesn't make me worthy. The fact that I made it out doesn't make me worthy. Nope. The fact that I had the courage to leave a toxic marriage doesn't make me worthy. I'm worthy just because I am a person. Everybody's worthy.
Oh, I love that. That is so powerful. So powerful to know that you are worthy just as you are.
Yes. Just as you are, no matter what quirks you have, no matter what you're still working on, no matter what that person says. And another thing, this is another thing I tell my clients. Who are you around? Who's feeding you the information about you? And who are you believing? Sometimes it's a parent that you have to change your relationship with. I know I'm not saying, please don't say I'm not advocating for cutting your parents off or anything like that. I'm also not advocating for continued relationships. That's between you and God, what you choose to do. But you have to keep people in your life who actually speak life into you.
Yes.
Right? A lot of us have childhood wounds because I know, at least for me, I speak for me, you know, even though I had a great mom, you know, I grew up in a Black household, which can be, well, say nothing, right? Because these people are looking at us. You got to be a certain way in public all the time. You can't be yourself. Don't speak like that when you're in a professional environment. You know, my locks are even considered an issue. An employer doesn't even have to hire me because I have natural hair. Right? All these things of all these messages of I'm not worthy, I already get from society. So the people in my circle, yes, they're going to be there to tell me when things are wrong, how I can improve, nothing wrong with that. But they're also going to love me. They're also going to honor the fact that I can make decisions and not criticize everything I do.
I think it's so important to be very thoughtful about what you are consuming. That includes the people around you, the words that are coming out of their mouth, the words, you know, that you are even listening to in music or on TV, the things you're consuming there, also what you're reading, how you're reading it. It's very important because consumption can really impact the way we're thinking and how we are also perceiving ourselves or perceiving our type of person in society as well.
Yes, 100%. I'm in agreement with that. And even when you're scrolling on social media, If something doesn't feed your soul, scroll past it. Scroll past it.
Yeah.
Keep your peace. Know that you are worthy.
Exactly. And follow people that are serving you well, that bring value to your life. And somebody might be bringing value to your life for a season. If they're not afterwards and you're just following them on social media, unfollow. Get it
Unfollow.
out. Get it
it's
out.
It's not a negative thing. That's right.
Yeah.
It's like, and don't look at it as selfishness. It's really just self-care.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's self-care.
Yeah, it is self-care. It is absolutely self-care. So I just love everything that you have shared about self-worth because it's so ever present and in so many different seasons of our life that we can actually feel it. It's not that I've conquered it today and then tomorrow it won't just kind of peek back in and say hello again. It definitely will do that. But I truly believe though, the more you overcome it, the easier it becomes later on to overcome it because you've already created that habit, that self-talk of love, that self-talk of encouragement, that self-talk of I'm awesome, whatever may happen, I'm awesome. And it truly helps the next time it happens and truly helps the next time it happens.
100%. It helps. And, it also helps in identifying what your triggers are. If you're like, one thing that I had to stop doing was I had to stop watching the news. That was one of my biggest triggers, right? It's one of my biggest triggers. So I don't watch it. I will read an article that interests me. And that's how I get my news.
Yeah.
So it could be a meteor shower. I probably wouldn't know. And that's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
But the constant negativity is too much.
Yeah. And, negative consumption is not necessarily also about how you're perceiving yourself to be, but it's also just about your general personality, like your general presence also. For example, like, just the news itself, I cannot watch local news. Like it makes me sad. It's always sad stuff. It's hardly ever happy things are happening. And you're just like, gosh, my city is very dangerous. Like that's all you're thinking. And so but this is what happens though. The consequence of that is where you're thinking, okay, I live in a very dangerous city. Therefore, I must be super cautious all the time. So you're constantly living in a manner where you might be anxious or you're paranoid or you're just not being free and yourself. And I'm not saying being negligent about not locking your doors or, things like that, but you also don't need to be thinking that there's always somebody watching you.
100%. I'm 100% agreement. It's about everything. Just be careful what you allow into your body, into your soul, to your spirit, whatever it is that you believe, because it messes with your self-worth. It messes with your mental health. It messes with a lot of things. It messes with how you see others.
Exactly.
Right. So it's like, you got to be really, really mindful of it. It really is important.
So you have definitely gone through many different seasons and you have absolutely learned so many hard lessons, but beautiful lessons also at the same time. How have you taken all of those experiences and brought them into your Determined Fempreneur business now?
I literally have brought in authenticity. No more playing and acting like who I think people want me to play and act like. Right. So that means that I do my business my way. I'm not the entrepreneur that's working 10 and 12 and 16 hours a day. I work 4 hours a day, Monday through Thursday. That is it. I'm not the entrepreneur that's going to be on social media all day. All the things that we're told to do. Nope. I literally am doing what I want to do. I'm going to live in a way I want to live and showing up in a powerful way for my clients and for my potential clients. And when people come into my programs, I teach them to do the same thing. Like I had a young lady who came into me and she was posting on social media 9 times a day, 7 days a week, because that's what her prior coach had told her she needed to do. And she came to me, she said, I'm exhausted. I'm doing all this posting. I'm servicing my clients. I'm exhausted, but I don't know what else to do. And I said to her, well, what do you want to do? Where do you need to be so that your ideal client can actually see you and engage with you.
Right.
She had no idea what she actually wanted.
Mm.
She had no idea what it meant to be authentically her in her business.
It's so true, because we are, we are told to be a certain way, especially when you join certain types of programs. They're teaching you what worked for them, essentially, which is wonderful. But I feel like also there's certain industry standards that we feel like we need to fit into, this cookie cutter thing that we need to fit into. And that can be the demise of ourselves and the demise of the dreams that we have in our heart, because we're not being true to the actual things that we're thinking about and we're wanting to do at the same time. And so this is just so mind-boggling to me that I literally just got off a solo episode talking about this stuff. Like I just can't even. So this is so crazy. But like
everything is aligned.
It is absolutely aligned. I mean, I totally believe in alignment. I believe in all of that. And the more you start practicing it, the more you see it. It's not that it's not happening, but you are actually intentional about it. And now you can actually see it unwrapping itself in your life, and you see it happening. You see the dots connecting. And I think it's so true, because I was telling my daughter the other day about this as well, because she started something, and a lot of her peers, and she's in middle school, a lot of her peers were just like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're going to get in trouble. You're going to get suspended. You're going to do this. They're starting a business in school. And I was just like, listen, that's noise. Like, you do, unless somebody comes to you and says you can't do it, because that is noise. And that somebody needs to be like, of course she's in school, there's authority there, and you got to, kind of follow the rules, and that,
of course,
the parameters. But I was like, that's noise. If today Elon Musk listened to everybody, he would not be doing what he's doing, because his ideas were so visionary, and visionary in the sense of actual inventions, actual like doing things so out of the box, that if he listened to everybody around him, he wouldn't be doing that, because the majority wants people to fit in that box. Don't go against the grain. Do what you're supposed to do traditionally. Even in my practice, like law is so very traditional in every aspect. So again, this is how my thing pops up all the time, is like, when I talk about what I do, it's so against the grain, people don't even understand. And then they're wondering, like, what kind of a lawyer are you? And so, and I'm just like, I'm the kind that you really want on your side, first of all. But it's so true, because, we get so bogged down with what we should be doing, how we should be presenting ourselves, how we should be talking, and I believe in decorum, but I also believe in decorum that is true to yourself, but with respect to the place you're in. But at the same time, it's like, how much can you be like the next person? And
it's only one you.
Yeah.
How about you just be you?
Yeah. There's the unique you. Exactly. Nobody can be you. You can't be anybody else. So why not just hone into the authentic self of yours, the quirkiness, the things that bring you that passion, and, things like that really make others more attracted to you.
Yes. People are attracted to authenticity.
Yeah. Yeah.
People are attracted to authenticity. So it's so important, especially if you're in business, to make sure you're you. Mm-hmm. So that when you begin to work with somebody, they're not like, well, who is the person that I've seen before, and who are you now? They don't meet, they don't match.
Yeah.
Be you, because you are enough. And if you find yourself not being you, there really may be a worthiness issue.
How do you help your clients align being them with their goals in life, like with their business goals and their entrepreneurial goals?
Well, my thing is, what we like to do, I have a mindset coach that works with my clients to help them understand, well, what do you want? What is the life that you want? And here's like one thing that I ask my clients to journal on. If you were a very bad girl, you didn't care about societal norms, you didn't care about anything, what would you want your life to look like? There's no wrong answer. And a lot of them, including me, when I first started journaling about that, I journaled about it as if like somebody was looking over my shoulder. So I was like, I want to do this for everybody else. Like, you know, rather than, okay, yes, I do want to impact other people. 100%. But really, what do I want my life to look like? Do I want to travel more? Do I want to have more time to serve at this homeless shelter? Do I want more time with my children? What do I really want? And now, what are those goals in my business that will help to ensure that I have this life of my dreams? Because when I'm fully fed and I'm fully present, my clients have better outcomes. So that's really getting to the core of what do you want for your life? Forget the business right now. What do you want your life to look like? And then we'll set business goals that get you there.
I love that we start with that. We focus on our life. We're not focusing on the metrics of the business success, but we're focusing on the metrics of life success. What we believe to be a happy, healthy life for ourselves and the ones that we design. Like, I love that.
Yes.
And it starts from there. And then you fill in the gaps with, okay, this is the work, this is that. Love that.
Yes. Or I've been doing this in my business. If I continue this, will it give me that life that I envision?
Wow.
And maybe the answer is no. And maybe whatever it is that you're doing must continue because that's impertinent for your business. But maybe hiring a team member who does that. Right? Really being that CEO, that visionary in your business.
Yeah.
That's how I've gotten down to a 4-hour workday. I hired a team, and, you know, I hired a virtual assistant when I was only making $750 a month in my business. She cleared up so much of my time in her little 2 hours a week that she was doing for me. That allowed me to focus more on revenue generating activities. That allowed me to focus on business development activities, right? So to be that visionary in my business and to say, okay, by the end of this year, I want to have this, I want to have that in my business. I want to have this many people in my business. I want to serve this many people. And I want to vacation a few times that year.
Love that.
I've accomplished all of that. I have 2 assistant coaches. I have my VA. I have my social seller, right? I'm on a plane every other week somewhere because I can service my clients no matter where I am. Bring my laptop with me, right? With my family. We have so much fun. I would never had this life as a nurse.
Yes.
Never.
And back then, 5 years prior, you were dreaming about it. So I feel like just kind of rewinding really quickly before we wrap it up, but 5 years before you started, you were dreaming about it. You knew what you wanted. And finally, that moment came where you were just basically like, okay, something's got to give. I got to make that choice right now. So I think a lot of times we, as humans, we get that intuition way before we actually take the actions. And that's okay too. There's a time and place for all of that. But if it's coming to you, don't just wait for that kick in the butt. Just do it. Start doing it. Small pieces, piecemeal. Yeah, just do it. Even if that just means creating a email with your business's name, just do it. So whatever makes you feel.
If that means just going live, go live and just say, hey, everyone, just want to let you know what I'm thinking of starting.
Yeah.
It's okay too.
Yeah. Legitimize it in your mind, whatever that is, and take the next step that will make you move to the next step. The needle movers. This has been so much wisdom with you today. I love talking to you. I felt like this was absolutely, a lot of other things beyond me that made this conversation happen today. And I'm just so grateful for you to be on Law Chat. But before we wrap it up, I always like to also ask, because I always forget, this is Law Chat. And so we like to talk a little bit about the legal stuff, but has there been a time when you're like, gosh, I really wish I had done something about the law, or you actually took precautions and you're like, yep, I'm glad I did this?
When I first started my business, I wasn't using client agreements. It was just like good faith.
Yeah.
And until I had my first chargeback.
Oh,
and I had it was nothing in writing to prove anything. So needless to say, I use a client agreement for everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
That has been reviewed by an attorney,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. And chargebacks were a huge issue in 2020, especially in the event industries and stuff. And so you can definitely have in your contracts a clause regarding chargebacks also. Don't think you cannot. But yes, client contracts are very important, very essential, just like other contracts that you just might need with other business relationships that you are working with. And Dr. Naieema, what is a book that you love and that you would suggest to our listeners to read?
The Big Leap. It really teaches you to take the big leap and to focus on your zone of genius. And he really defines to you how to figure out what your zone of genius is.
Awesome.
And then when you find out what your zone of genius is, then you can hire a team around that.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. That is awesome. And I think that has been, I haven't read the book, but we'll definitely have a link to it in the show notes. But I think the whole zone of genius, visionary, a person who's an integrator, even the book Traction talks about stuff like that. And even Strength Finders is a great way to figure out where your zones of genius lie. There's so many tools out there, but I think it's very important for us to do that. Focus on our zone of genius, delegate what we can delegate, and not be scared doing it. So how can others connect with you? How can our listeners reach out to you? Say hi.
You can find me on IG at Dr. Naieema. So DrNaieema. Find me, send me a DM. Let me know that you listen to this. I love to have really personalized conversations with people. That's not just to love it under somebody's post.
Yeah.
So just send me a DM. Let me know that you heard it. Let me know that you are worthy.
Yes. Awesome. Thank you so much again. And these conversations are so needed. And I'm so glad that you were able to have that with us today.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Thank you so much for letting me just allow me on your platform.
Of course.
Thank you so much for joining Law Chat with Girja. I just love these kind of conversations that are motivating, inspiring, but truthful, raw, and honest about all of the challenges, all of the victories, all of the triumphs, picking ourselves back up again. I just can't think of a better way to get mentorship but Law Chat with Girja. If this was helpful to you or this was inspiring to you, please share the love. You can give this video a thumbs up. You can subscribe to this channel. You can also share this with your community by taking a screenshot and posting it on your social media and tagging GBP Law. When you do that, a lot more people will be able to see this video that not only benefited you, but also can benefit them as well. So let's share that love and let's share that inspiration. And if you want more information about what I do and other resources, go check out gbplaw.com or yourcontractbuddy.com. And I look forward to seeing you next time.